what's the best plan for divorcing an a-hole? I met with a woman a couple of weeks ago who unfortunately married an a-hole, and now she's had enough. She wants out, and the poor lady has her work cut out for her. We are going to do our best to help her, but it will not be easy for her. And that led me to think about giving some advice on how to approach these situations. As time has gone on, I have become more confident in humanity as a whole. There are a lot of really good people out there, but there are also a decent number of a-holes, and we have to learn how to deal with them and manage them effectively. So how does it work in divorce? Number one, safety first. If you think that things may escalate to the point that there is a safety concern either for you or for your children, you need to have a safety plan in place. You need to reach out to someone you trust and have a plan in place that if things go south, you can reach out to that person and execute your plan. You also cannot be afraid to file a restraining order when appropriate. Now, you want to make sure that you have a factual basis for a restraining order. A restraining order is not a tool to just get rid of an a-hole because that person is annoying, a pain in the ass. There is a threshold, a legal threshold that must be met for a restraining order to be approved. And if there is a safety concern and the police recommend that you get a restraining order, then you may need to get an emergency order. But if it's more in a gray area and you're not sure whether there's a safety concern and it's more of annoyance, then you want to make sure you consult with an attorney to be confident that you have the factual basis for a restraining order. You do not want to file a restraining order in court and ultimately have it rejected and terminated by a judge because it may reflect poorly on your credibility. So if it's clear cut and the police are advising you to get one, then you may need to just get an emergency restraining order. If it's a gray area, consult with an attorney. And if there's a safety concern, certainly develop a safety plan. But once you get past that, if there isn't a safety concern, then what you want to do is you want to lead with understanding and empathy. And I know that this sounds counterintuitive because a lot of the advice you might get from people is you have to fight fire with fire. If he's an a-hole, you have to be, or if she's an a-hole, you have to be a bigger a-hole, and you need to fight and don't back down. And unfortunately, that results in a lot of conflict, which is terrible, especially for cases involving children, and it makes the process longer and more expensive. So what I suggest you do is whenever someone is acting like an a-hole, that is usually based on some type of fear. When people act like this, it's because they are afraid of something, something's happened, they have some belief that is driving that behavior. And if you can get to the root of that and understand why the person is upset and acknowledge it with that person and see it for what it is, that will get you a long way toward making progress on your case. We've had this in the past where someone's behavior was out of control, and just acknowledging where it was coming from and talking to that person about it, sometimes it's through the client, sometimes it's through the attorney, calmed things down and put us in a much better position to resolve the case. Now, this does not mean that you concede things you shouldn't concede or that you put your tail between your legs and give the person what they want. Absolutely not. You need to set reasonable, attainable goals with your attorney, and you need to pursue what you're entitled to, and as long as your goals are reasonable, what you want to get out of the divorce. But what this does is it says to the other side, I see where your pain is. I see why you're upset. And that alone does a lot toward diffusing the person and putting the person in a position to have constructive conversations about how to resolve the case. So this may not work. There are some people, there are some a-holes that are such big a-holes that nothing you do will make a difference. And in that case, you just have to go through the regular channels. Usually it's through having an attorney work everything out and managing the case that way. But whenever possible, try to see what the pain point is, acknowledge the pain point, and that helps diffuse. So what you're doing is you're remaining firm and you're going after your goals, but you're coming from a position of understanding and compassion. And it's at least worth a shot. If it doesn't work, you're right back at square one and involved in a shit show that will probably cost you a lot of money and take a long time, but try to lead with understanding and compassion. And of course, if there is a safety concern, have a plan in place. And if you need a restraining order, don't be afraid to get one. If it's in a gray area, make sure that you get that assessed so that you are not filing baseless restraining orders and sacrificing your credibility. So that's how you deal with an a-hole. If you have any other questions, feel free to call us at 508-675-0464. You can email us at info@fariasfamilylaw.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you found this video helpful, and you can find us on Facebook at Farias Family Law and also on Instagram at Farias Family Law. Thank you. Have a good day.